Hey everybody, welcome back to Living Traditions Homestead. Well, we're out by the pigs today and we thought we would take some time to do a video where we just answer some of your questions directly. Every once in a while we like to look through the comment sections of our videos and find questions that get asked multiple times and then answer those directly to you instead of typing out the answers in the comments.
So we decided to do that today, but first, we have a really special treat for Myrtle and the piglets. We thought we'd give them that treat right now so you could see that, but also then so you'll have some entertainment on the side while we answer some of your questions.
All right, let's go give them their treat first. So we had some leftover pumpkins from the garden. They've been up on the porch as a decoration, but over the last couple of weeks, we've been slowly giving them to Myrtle and she loves them. All right, here you go, Myrtle. The piglets love the pumpkins too. Everybody has to get in on the action. There we go. All right, let's go sit back down and answer some questions.
So we've gotten a question over and over recently that revolves around us sharing with you that our plan and our hope is to move from our homestead property to the farm property that we bought about a year and a half ago.
Right. Right now, we have things at both places. We're still doing quite a bit here at the homestead, but we're slowly transitioning everything down to the farm property. We're hoping that that process will be complete within the next year or so, and that we'll be able to live full-time down at the farm property and then put the homestead here up for sale.
So the question that we've been getting over and over again is, what happened to Kevin's parents? Did we kick him off the farm? Because 2 summers ago, Kevin's parents came to stay at the farmhouse. They ended up really liking it here. They were from Arizona. They decided to go back to Arizona, sell their place there, and move here permanently.
So at the time we introduced you guys to my parents, we let you know that they were going to be living on our farm property. And I think maybe we didn't make things real clear at that time that the plan wasn't for them to live at the farm property forever.
Right.
The plan was for them to live at the farm property while they moved here and got settled and then were able to look for their own place here in our local area.
And Kevin's parents have never been homesteaders. They love that we are homesteaders and they love what we're doing here and really believe in it. But that's not something that they've ever dreamt of doing for themselves. And you know, they're older, they're ready to just be retired and just live a slow life doing whatever they want to do. And so homesteading or farming has not been in the plans for them.
Right. My mom does have a garden and she likes having a garden in the summer, but that's about as far as their homesteading goes. So they did this last year buy a house in town. It's a little bit easier for them to be in town, closer to the stores and things like that. They don't like driving after dark anymore. And out here, way in the country, it gets really dark. And actually, right after my parents moved here, they hit a deer with their car and had over $6,000 damage to their car. Luckily, they were both okay, but the car was pretty wrecked.
Yes. So the bottom line is, no, we did not kick them out of the house. We did not kick them off the farm.
They're evicted. No.
No. All along, their hope and desire was to find a nice small house in town, to stay with us as long as they needed to until they found the perfect place for them. And in the end, they did. Right.
It was a real blessing for us to have the farm property, for them to come and have a transitional place. And it worked out perfectly for that. And we feel really blessed that we were able to offer that to them for the time that they needed it. The next question revolves around our cattle. We have gotten a lot of questions recently about well, why do we need so many cows, and why do we need all these steers, and what's the point of having all of them? And I guess a lot of that maybe is our fault for not educating some of you who maybe have never been around cattle, who have never been on a farm, as to really how you make money raising cattle, especially on a smaller scale like we are doing here. So the first question was really more about our dairy cows and what our plan is with them. Are we planning on, opening a dairy? Are we planning on doing something like that? And the truth is, with our dairy cows, the one that's in milk right now, her name is Rose. We milk her every day. Her milk is for our own consumption and for all of the other animals around the homestead, as well as making our homemade butter and all of the other things that we make out of her milk. We don't have plans to be like a commercial dairy. We do give some milk and things to some friends and family, but other than that, that's about it. The reason that we will keep breeding her and having her calves is because we do plan on selling registered Jersey calves, specifically registered Jersey heifers, to other homesteaders, and we are excited to be able to offer that in the future as something that we can help provide to the homesteading community.
Right. When we brought Rose to our farm, she was already bred, and when she calved, she had a heifer calf. We named her...
Which is a female calf.
Yeah. Yes, we named her Babe, and we plan to keep her part of our farm and breed her also to get her milk for our family and for our animals, but also to sell her heifer calves or her female calves to other homesteaders.
Right.
She is also registered, and by us breeding with registered stock, we can continue registering their calves, and they're more valuable because you know that their lineage is very good and they're purebred. So that is our plan for our dairy cows and to make money for our homestead.
Right. Now these days, what's really nice is that we can actually impregnate our dairy cows through artificial insemination with what's called sexed semen. So we have about a 90% chance that the calves that will be born will be girls.
Right.
So that's a very nice thing to be able to do, because we can guarantee that we'll have a good supply of female calves to be able to sell to other homesteaders. Now, a lot of people also ask about our other cows, our beef cattle. Like, what are we doing with them? Because this last year we, as you may have seen, we bought 10 cows, we bought a bull, and now we have 3 steers that we're raising up as well. Well, the steers are actually for sale. We're looking for families who want to buy a steer either at this age right now that would want to take it home and finish raising it up until it gets to the size where it could go to the processor, or we'll continue to raise them, and then when they get to somewhere between 18 months and 2 years old, we'll take it to the processor for someone, and then they can just pay for the steer and pay for the processing costs and get their own healthy beef.
So there again is another way that we are making money for the homestead and funding what we do here. We've really enjoyed the cattle, both dairy and the beef cattle, and that's something that we want to continue. Our future plans for the beef herd are to expand a little bit. We have enough grass and we produce enough hay for a few more cows, female cattle, to produce more calves, and we'd like to expand a little bit. So going forward, we're going to be holding back any of the heifers. We have 1 heifer calf we'll be holding back that will join our herd permanently.
So hopefully that helps clarify why we're expanding in the cattle side of the farm a little bit. We're by no means a big cattle operation.
No.
We're small potatoes, especially in this part of the country.
Yes.
But we do enjoy it, and we want to keep it at a point where just the 2 of us can handle it, and it can be an enjoyable experience for us. So I hope that helps explain why we're doing what we're doing with the cattle.
Another question that we get over and over again is in regards to our internet service. About a year, maybe a year and a half ago, we let you guys know that there was a new internet service provider that we were using and that we really liked it. The name of the company is Nomad Internet, and we've had a lot of questions about whether or not it's still working well for us.
So the answer is yes. In our situation, it is still working really well. We actually still use it. We haven't switched away from it. And for us, I don't know, but for us, it has always worked well in our location. Now, we have some friends who live not very far from us, and they switched to Nomad, and to be honest, it didn't work very well for them at all. Now, here in Missouri, we're very hilly country, so it can be very hit or miss. So I think the thing with Nomad is it really depends on your location, but it also really depends on kind of your technical abilities. I've heard from a lot of you guys that you've had some, let's just say, not great interactions with Nomad as far as technical support and things like that. And I have looked into that, and I would probably agree that if you're not able to do a lot of your own troubleshooting and do a lot of your own kind of learning to get things working correctly, it's not a real user-friendly service. It's not as plug and play as you would like it to be. So if you're not able to do a lot of your own troubleshooting, it may not be the best option. But for us here where we are, it is still by far the best we've had in the 6 years that we've lived here. Now, I will tell you guys that we are signed up for Starlink service. It was originally supposed to be available in our area late this summer, and we just recently got an email saying it's being delayed and it's not going to be available in our area until March. So we are going to be trying out Starlink when it becomes available, because I do think it's going to be even better than Nomad. It sounds like the speeds are going to be better, and it sounds like it's just going to be more consistent. So we are going to be testing that out once it's available, and I'll give you guys an update and let you know how that's going to work as well. The next question seems like we get quite often, and it kind of goes in waves. We've gotten it a lot just recently since we did the video where we were showing you guys about the new garden area that we're getting ready. And then at the end, we let our chickens and our ducks out into that area. The question is about aerial predators. Aren't we just terrified of aerial predators? Aren't we super worried about aerial predators? And what are we doing to stop them from killing all of our animals?
Well, you guys, we have been on this place in southern Missouri for 6 years now, maybe even a little bit more, and we haven't ever had one single incident of an aerial predator against any of our birds. Actually, when we were in the Phoenix area also, we never had a problem with aerial predators. Now, coyotes, we've had take our chickens, and that's why they're penned up. That's why they're protected in that area, but not aerial predators. Now, I will say that our chicken moat that we have right now, that design will also keep aerial predators away, just because the fences are so close together, and it's not an area that aerial predators will feel safe diving down into and landing and taking off again. But even when we let them out into the open and into the garden area, we're not really worried about it.
Now, we're not fooling ourselves. That could change anytime. We could have a hawk move into the area. We do occasionally have bald eagles around here. We could have one that suddenly discovers our chickens or our ducks and decides it's a great place to start feasting. And if that happens, then we will come up with a solution. But one thing that we've learned in over a decade of homesteading now is that you can't preemptively plan for everything that could possibly happen. So we don't spend a lot of time and money and energy planning for things that we're not having a problem with.
Right.
We will wait. If we start to have a problem, we'll act quickly. In the back of our minds, we usually already have some idea of what we would do. Even if, like in this situation, the plan was, well, for the next 5 days, the chickens need to stay locked up during the day while we come up with a solution.
Right.
I mean, but for the most part, we're not going to spend our time worrying about things that we're not having a problem with.
Right.
There are plenty of things to worry about that we are having problems with. So it's just not worth our time and energy to worry about them. So that really the answer is right now, we don't have a problem and we're not worried about it.
The next question that we've been getting is surrounding the quail that Kevin's been raising, and that is, do we need some kind of like permit or some kind of special license to be raising quail in our area?
And the answer is no. The type of quail that we're raising are called Coturnix quail. They're Japanese quail, and they are not a native species of this area. As far as I know, I don't believe you need a license to raise them anywhere, but you need to check your local laws. But because they're not a native species, they do not require a permit. Now, if you're raising a native species of quail, like bobwhite quail, you do need a permit from your local conservation department in most cases to raise any type of native bird. So you need to check the laws in your area, but the type that we're raising around here, we do not need any type of permits for. They're simply a domesticated bird, just like raising a parakeet or a pigeon or anything else.
And while we're on the subject of quail, you know, we were talking before about business plans for our cattle. Why don't you explain your business plans for the quail?
Right. So one thing on our farm or our homestead is we like every animal on the homestead to pay for itself, and hopefully to pay for more than itself. So with the quail, my plan for quail is I will be selling eggs for eating. I'll also be selling hatching eggs. And then I'll also be selling young quail all the way up to breeding age here locally. So all of those things I'll be selling only locally. I'm not going to be shipping eggs or anything like that. But I will be doing some of that off the farm and also at the farmer's market next summer. So if you guys are, you know, within driving distance and need some quail or want to start getting some quail within the next month or so, I ought to be having a good supply all the time. So there you go, you guys. Some of the most asked questions that we've been getting recently. But most importantly, we want you to know, no, we're not being terribly mean eviction landlords to my parents. They are quite happy. They didn't move back to Phoenix. That's another question we got a lot. Did they move back to Phoenix? Maybe they hated it here. No, they love it here.
They love it here.
They love it here in Missouri, and they are glad that they're here. And we're glad that they're here. Not only to be close to us, but close to our kids as well.
So you guys, if you are enjoying videos like this and enjoying our videos, make sure that you hit the subscribe button below. And remember that really the best way that you can help us here on the homestead is just to share our videos on your social media. Until next time, thank you so much for stopping by our homestead. Take care and God bless.
God bless.